Your ability or my ability to learn is the absolute prerequisite to be best at anything. Um, that goes for footballers. It's for finance people. It's for teachers. It's for partners. It's for, I don't know, girlfriend, boyfriends, whatever. The thing is that learning is difficult and learning is painful because learning will by default unfortunately pull us out of our comfort zone. These are the things I'm going to talk about today. I'm Arvid, and this is the boring show. And the boring show is it is what it is. These are the things that we kind of need to know. Uh, it's the it's basics. We need to know how we learn. We need to know how we build playbooks. We need to know the ground rules of personal branding, marketing, stuff like that. So we're gonna walk everyone through that. But first and foremost, we had playbook in the first episode. So today we're going to talk about learning. To make it easier for myself, I'm gonna try to keep it simple. We're not going to dive into every rabbit hole there is. I'm going to use a few examples. The examples obviously have value in other circumstances as well, and you'll see that this it's not difficult. Learning isn't difficult. It's painful. It's a lot of things, but difficult is not one of them. We do tend to learn stuff every day, so this is not the complicated thing. But I'm going to exemplify it as in a business sense, and how and why, and no first and foremost, how, what's going to have to happen. So to learn something, to make that process at least somewhat bearable and easy, we need to be motivated. And this is like in sports it is easy to understand, because in sports, if you want to be a better footballer, you need to learn to be a better footballer. You need to learn from those better than you, or those who knows more than you. If you want to be a great bass player, you need to learn how to play the bass. So that's uh, but remember how I said it. If you want to be a great footballer, so obviously the motivation is to be a great footballer. You can probably break down that motivation to, money, houses, success, fame, all these things. And that brings us in to the first, and maybe one of the four really important things you need to know about learning. You need to be motivated. Now, when you are working somewhere, uh, to find motivation to enter into educational or development programs in the business where you work can be difficult, because most of the time you will probably just be entered, and there'll be some, I don't know, some elusive goal, something that's going to happen way into the future. What I found out is that, and this is when I say what I found out, it doesn't mean that I did the research. This just meant that some researchers wrote an article about it at some point. I can reference this one. This is Clev and Levine. They wrote a book in 2021, and they built a learning model. So I'm going to use that one. Uh, the easiest way to find motivation to learn something is to see if your goals can align with company goals. If you can figure out how your personal gains, goals, what you want to achieve with your life, how that aligns with the company goals, the company you work for, And to exemplify, it means like, so it can be the company goal is to enter a new market, and your goal is to have a new house or have a new car or maybe more money or being able to travel. Now, if you can see how entering a new market for the company you work for might help you make more money, enabling you to do the stuff that you want. Now, at that point, you have discovered the motivation you need, because let's face it, the company needs you to do stuff that you're not capable of doing today, so you have to learn it. But if you learn it and you can help the company achieve the goals it has set, it will also help you achieve your goals. So first and foremost, if you can align your personal goals with the company goals, you'll find what you need, the motivation you need to learn there. Because your motivation, and this is what's special with motivation has to come from you. It has to be something that you want. You can obviously be a person that really likes to help people and stuff like that, and I'm not saying that that doesn't work, but in general, your motivation usually comes from you achieving something that you want to achieve. So the first and most important thing for learning is that you need to find your inner motivation to learn. As soon as you have figured that one out, there's a step two. Oh, I do have to have my coffee. Step two in learning is to find a neutral arena to do the learning. And we need a neutral arena to make sure that the workplace dynamic, uh, doesn't enter the learning sphere. And let me try to exemplify. There's a couple of things that happen. If you are in your uh, seat, your regular office chair, and you will be distracted by your day-to-day job. It's telephones, it's emails, it's meetings, it's stuff like that. So you're going to need to have a dedicated space and dedicated time to make sure that learning happens. And it's like it's to make sure that you remove all unnecessary distractions. It's also a way to re-engineer your brain, basically, to make sure that you have an arena where learning is what you're supposed to do. It's like if you go to the gym, obviously you can build a home gym, but this is where you eat, this is where you watch TV. I guarantee you the training you do at home will be will not be as good as the training you do at the gym. When you come to the gym, you kind of focus, you set your mind to that. This is where now I'm gonna lift some weights, I'm gonna do some miles on the treadmills and stuff like that. And it's the same for learning. You need a space where learning basically can take place. Uh, so that's step two. It's to find a neutral arena to make sure that you focus, you refocus your brain, you make sure that you're ready to learn, and you remove external distractions. So motivation, neutral arena. Those two have to be present. Number three, uh, when you have the neutral arena, you're going to need someone to teach, a good teacher. And there are two people, or there can be more people, but two roles that doesn't work as teachers. It's bosses and parents. And the easy way to explain why is because first and foremost, a lot of workers love their managers and almost every child love their parent, but it doesn't mean that they are um, good teachers. There's a difference. And furthermore, if you are a parent or a boss, um, they can always say, this is the way it is, or because I said so. In teaching and learning, that's not a valid argument, you know. So and you also have to be in a position where you can discuss openly and freely what's being thought, and not being afraid that this is something your objections or your, I don't know, and anything you have to say in the situation is something that can come back and bite you, because it's not supposed to be like that. So you're going to have to be motivated to learn, and the motivation has to come from the inside. You're going to need a neutral arena to make sure that your mind is focused on learning. And you're going to need a teacher you respect from an academic point of view, not as a boss or a parent, but as an academic and a person you're not afraid to challenge. Because if you're going to learn something, you're going to have to reason for yourself. And if you start reasoning for yourself, you will have questions always. And that's a good thing. Uh, Finally, and this is not finally, but point number 4. When it comes to learning, I always say, and again, I always say because the research told me so, or the empirical data that exists has told me so, learning is painful. And I can exemplify it. It's like if you're working in a company that's been doing great for 50 years, there's a culture for how we do stuff. And it's in the fabric, it's everywhere, it's every routine. Learning something new means basically bringing everyone out of their comfort zone. You know, it's a, in many cases, it's what we can refer to a complete cultural reset. And that's difficult. And you can see that in many of the major companies. I think I might be mistaken, but I think that if you look at the Fortune 500 list, it has a 70 to 80% turnover every 30 or 40 years. Now, I don't have empirical data showcasing what I'm saying right now, but it's my firm belief that this happens because these organizations stop to learn. Because if you are one of the richest company in the world in 2000 and you're almost non-existent in 2025, it's kind of easy to make the argument that this organization weren't able to adjust to the times and reset their business models and stuff like that. Or, in other words, they weren't able to relearn, to reskill, to upskill their employees, to refocus. And so when I say learning is painful, I really mean it's painful. This is, it's about going inside and redoing stuff that you believe work, which is even worse. If you are doing stuff and you have had success with it for a long time, and you have to relearn it and do it another way, it's painful. Um, Let me bring it into to another context, and this is for one individual. Let's say that you've been using dating apps and it's almost working. You've been on 3 or 4 of them. You've gone on maybe, I don't know, 30 or 40 dates. So you're close, but that's it. you're just close. You went on 30 or 40 dates, but you didn't end up with a significant other. And if that's what you want, you're going to have to learn to do it another way. And let's say that, for argument's sake, that when you were using the dating apps, you like them because you can post the pictures you like, you can showcase the best part of yourself, and you can have help to write the profile to make sure you have as many hits as possible. And it got you close, but there's no end game. Now here's the thing, then now you're going to have to learn to do something else. You're probably going to have to learn how to talk to the opposite sex, how to engage them. And to be honest, if your ballpark, if your game zone where you are comfortable are behind a screen writing, pulling you out of that and in front of someone, engaging someone, some stranger, and just on top of mind, starting conversations, asking people out, that's going to be difficult. Now, the motivation, obviously, in this scenario is that at the end of the day, hopefully, you'll have a partner. So you're quite motivated to do the learning, but it's still going to be painful. It's if you don't like to talk to people, approaching strangers, asking them questions, asking them out, handling rejection, stuff like that, it's going to be painful and difficult. And that's just for you. Now imagine if you bring that into a whole big organization. Not one person, but everyone. And people get a little, and everyone knows we have to, you know, what we used to do. It gave us the dates, and at first maybe we even, a couple even got partners, and then it went a little further, and it was just dates, and we still need partners. You do realize it's an analogy, obviously, but this is why learning is painful, because learning, at least in a business sense, or not just in a business sense, is almost always a cultural reset. Let me put it to the professional footballer then. He or she were motivated by the lust for the game, for the money, for the success and everything. But believe me, I'm 100% sure that almost every one of them was absolutely petrified the first time they went out to Santiago Bernabeu or Nou Camp or whatever in front of 100,000 people. It gut wrenching. Why am I doing this? I hate it. It's the worst thing I've done in my life. Obviously, when the judge then the referee starts the game and you start running and you hear the people on your side, amazing. But the last 5 minutes when you're standing in the tunnel before you enter the field, gut wrenching, horrible, horrible, horrible feeling. And this is for people that's highly motivated, because the upside is immense. It's like for you, as I said in the dating example, if you can succeed and just pull through, you might have the partner you want. For the footballer, it means having the contracts, the perfect life afterwards. For a business, if people doesn't have that kind of motivation, it's like you have to learn new stuff. You have to redo everything we're doing today. I'm going to reset the culture. Why would anyone want to go through so much pain if they can't relate? It's not going to happen. So I'm going to keep this one a short episode because we don't have to make it really long. But I think everyone that's listening can understand what I'm on about. The importance of motivation, because if there's no end game, you're not going to walk through the pain, obviously. And the more people that's engaged in such a process, the more difficult it's going to be. Number two, you're going to need a neutral arena. because you want your mind focused on learning, not everything else. You don't want the arena to be associated with anything else. You're going to want a teacher you respect from an academic point of view, not because they said so. And if they said so, that's the right thing to do, at least because it might be wrong. And you have to be able to challenge them. And it's going to be painful. And it is going to be painful because you have to do, you are going to go to changes. Learning by default is new. It's not doing what you're doing today, it's doing something new. Okay, so that's it for today's episode. Loved having you here. And I do hope you enjoyed this episode. We have a couple of other shows. We have the unboxing with Dr. Hatim, we have the mastering show with Sunny, and I have another show called the Office Hours. So if you do have any problems, challenges in the workplace, let me know, and we'll have a discussion here. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. If you like our content, please follow. If you don't like, tell us why. And do have a great day.